Welcome back to Bravo Breaking News. I am your host, Kim, back with another episode of Unpopular Opinions, my show where I break down all of the top Bravo news and moments of the week, and of course, give my opinions on them all.
That's my opinion!
And boy, do I have a lot of them this week. There is so much going on in the Valley Vanderpump Rules universe. I also want to talk about NextGen NYC because I am obsessed. And we have some Real Housewives news coming out of Miami and Beverly Hills. So I'm going to get into it all. But before I do, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more Bravo breaking news. Okay, so let's start off with everything that's going on in the world of the Valley because I got to talk about what is probably one of the biggest headlines of the week. And that is that Jax's Studio City is no more. So I first saw this news on Ryan Bailey's Instagram, So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey, shout out, but he posted that a follower actually had been driving past Jax's in Studio City and saw people taking down the sign. Just a couple hours later, we got confirmation from TMZ and a statement from Jax himself. TMZ reported, Jax Taylor, see you later, LA bar. Bravo star stepping away from namesake pub. A rep for the Vanderpump Rules alum tells us he made the decision to terminate his partnership with the establishment, saying it was a carefully considered and necessary step to prioritize his sobriety and mental health. Following the news, Jax posted a statement to his Instagram story that reads, I've made the decision to end my partnership with Jax's. It wasn't an easy decision, but it was the right one. Right now, my focus is on my sobriety and mental health, and staying connected to my bar is no longer in line with the priorities I've set for myself and the life I'm working towards. Now, that's actually a pretty good statement if it was coming from anybody else other than Jax Taylor, because I do not believe for a second that this man chose to step away from that bar. First of all, we all know he is a narcissist, so I know that he loved having his name on the outside of a building. He loved seeing that every day. He loved wearing the merch. He was head to toe in that merch pretty much the entire season of The Valley. But not only that, this man needs money, and there is no way that he is going to walk away from a financial opportunity like this one. Now, I'm not really sure like the business dealings behind the bar, but I am hearing that he actually had no stake in the bar. So 0% stake, he owned no equity in it. So was he actually making any money from the bar to begin with, or was it just kind of his stomping grounds and kind of like a bragging opportunity for him? I don't know, but it was in his eyes good for business, good for the show to have this bar with his name on it. But of course, just like Schwartz and Sandy's, Jax's didn't last very long. And I just have to say, can people stop entrusting these toxic Bravo men enough to go into business with them? And not only that, put their names on the front of the establishment. I think that is really where you go wrong, is when you name an entire business after a man who is bound to not only make mistakes, but go way too far to the point where people don't even want to be associated with him at all. I think I called this several weeks ago. I had been seeing stories and news headlines basically saying that Jax's was empty. People were going to have drinks. I mean, even at one point, I wanted to go and see what it was all about. But the fact that none of the other cast members even associate with Jax or would never be caught dead there, I mean, there's really no pull for it at the end of the day. Certainly nobody wants to go to see Jax Taylor or Schwartz hanging out there. I saw this coming. I saw this coming from a mile away, and there is absolutely no world in which this was Jax Taylor's decision. I am seeing a lot of talk online, though, that, people maybe wish that the bar did actually stay open because Jax needs the money. And if Jax doesn't have any money, that means that Brittany is going to be on the hook for even more alimony and support for him throughout this divorce, which this woman already has enough on her shoulders. And the fact that Jax Taylor pretty much has no income coming in anymore is definitely worrisome for Brittany. But all I really got to say is good riddance. I mean, this man does not deserve anything named after him, any business named after him. He does not deserve to be on our TV screens. I am so glad we are not going to be seeing him on the Valley next season. I really hope he gets the help that he needs and takes this seriously like he says he's going to. But we know Jax Taylor at this point. We've seen him on TV for 11, 12 years. And I'm sorry, guys, but I don't think he's ever going to change. One little side note about Jax that I did want to talk about. So we get part 1 of the Valley reunion this week. And did you guys see in the sneak peek him talking about Kim Zolciak? So Andy asked him like if he still keeps in touch with any of the Vanderpump Rules crew. He says, "Oh yeah, I talked to pretty much all of them." And then proceeds to say that the last person he spoke to in general was Kim Zolciak from The Real Housewives of Atlanta. I'm sorry, but I had to rewind and watch that clip again because I was like, I'm sorry. So he said that he was going to be in Atlanta for some appearance or whatever, and Kim Zolciak reached out to him and they were going to grab dinner together. Obviously, the reunion was filmed several months ago, so I just need to know, did this actually happen? And how often are Kim Zolciak and Jax actually staying in contact? This is a crossover I definitely did not see coming. But let's be real, they are both thirsty for fame and more so money. These two people need money. So if they're going to hang out and get in cahoots and, make it back into the headlines and be in the spotlight again, and hey, are we going to get a hookup like Erica Jane and Jesse Solomon? Maybe so. And will that help, bring their careers back up? I don't know, probably not, but I don't put it past them to at least try. Okay, let's jump over to another story that came out this week from the Valley world, and that is that Michelle and Aaron have broken up. Now, I was actually shocked to read this. Shout out to the Bravo investigator who actually broke this news because they noticed that Michelle not only unfollowed Aaron on Instagram, but deleted every single picture of them together from her Instagram profile. I mean, that's definitely a sign that something's going on if I have ever seen one. Once I saw that, I was like, look, okay, something's definitely going down. And then the next day, we did get confirmation that the split was true. The Valley's Michelle Lally and boyfriend Aaron Nosler split after 1 year of dating. A source confirms to Us Weekly that Michelle is in the process of moving out of Aaron's home, adding that the group is about to start filming season 3. Meanwhile, a second insider noted that Michelle is focusing on her daughter, work, and taking care of herself as she navigates this new chapter in her life. Oof, this is a tough one. I think that Michelle thought that Aaron would be her end game. I think that after everything she was going through with Jesse, she really thought that things were going to work out with him. Obviously, she had moved in already. Obviously, he was already spending Father's Day with her daughter, Isabella, basically being like a stepdad to her. So the fact that they have split so abruptly with really no reason that we know is kind of crazy. I mean, I always got weird vibes from that guy. I've said it before. He has Ramona eyes. Something is going on there. He always seems a little off from whenever we've seen him on the Valley. I think everybody can agree that we don't really see in him what Michelle has seen in him. But obviously, she has very odd taste in men, so I'll just leave it at that. But I do think that this is a very good way for Michelle to get her contract renewed for season 3 of The Valley. I do know they are going to start filming very soon. And let's be real, I'm pretty sure that Michelle was at the very end of the couch during that Valley reunion and really wasn't bringing much to the storyline towards the end of the season. It definitely seems like she is kind of keeping the details and reasoning close to the chest, which makes me think that she is saving it all for the show. And I gotta say, I am kind of curious. I want to know what went down, so we'll see what happens with that. A lot of people are saying, oh, is she going to get back with Jesse now? I highly doubt that. But crazier things have happened on Bravo, guys. I guess we'll just have to see. Okay, moving on to another Valley / Vanderpump Rules couple, and that is Sheena and Brock, because we got an update in the whole affair saga this week, and it is now coming from Brock's point of view. So Brock has decided that he felt the need to release a statement himself, and not just a statement, but a statement in the form of a letter to Sheena Shea. And not just a letter to Sheena Shea, but a letter to Sheena Shea that he chose to share publicly to everyone on Instagram. His post reads, I know it's taken me time to speak, and that was intentional. I wanted to give Sheena the space to share her story, but the life we've chosen is a public one, which means my accountability must be public as well. For the last 2 years, we have been privately doing the hard work of rebuilding what I broke. You have seen me as a husband and a father, and that work will never stop. This moment is about publicly owning and taking accountability for my failures. Just to be clear, I am not going anywhere. I will continue to put the effort and time into being the best version of myself and the man our family deserves. My letter to Sheena is in this post. Okay, bear with me because this is a long letter, but I feel like we need to read it. So it says, Dear Sheena, as you share your story with the world in your new book, I wanted to share this. I am so incredibly proud of you for telling your truth with such courage. I've kept my own words private until now because this moment deserved to be yours, and I will always support you in telling your story. Now, I want to publicly own my part in it. I have spent a long time sitting with the weight of what I did early in our relationship. I hurt you. I fully accept that. I broke something that should have been sacred between us. You gave me trust, love, and stability. I gave you pain. I carry that with me every day. When I told you the truth, I knew there would be consequences, both personal and public. But none of that compares to what I did to you and our young family. I crossed a line that should have never been crossed. I betrayed the woman who believed in me, and in doing so, I damaged something real between us. That is what hurts the most. It was not a lapse in judgment, it was a failure of character, a choice I regret deeply. You did not deserve that kind of betrayal, especially not from someone who promised to protect your heart. I think about that often, not just what I did, but what it took from you and how much harder it made everything that followed. Through it all, you have never wavered as a mother. You are perfect in that role, present, loving, strong, and steady. Our daughter is incredibly lucky to have you. Watching the way you show up for her has changed the way I try to show up too. It has grounded me in something real and lasting. I am not asking for forgiveness. I only want you to know how deeply sorry I am for breaking your trust, how seriously I have taken the harm I caused, and how thankful I am that you continue to show up for her and for yourself. I see that. I respect it. I understand the road to healing is going to be rough. We have faced hard truths due to my actions, and you have stood strong. Together, we have rebuilt something real, not just as parents, but as partners. I am proud of where we are, and I do not take a moment of it for granted. With all of me, I'm sorry, Brock. So there is a lot to unpack there. The first of which is it kind of giving Chat GPT? I don't know. At the end of the day, I do think that this is actually a pretty decent letter. He actually is taking accountability for his actions and not just apologizing for what he did. And so I think it's actually a pretty decent letter. But I'm sorry, there are a little too many Oxford commas in this letter that makes me think that it might be coming from ChatGPT. Also, on top of that, it is extremely well written, so I don't know. I don't know Brock to be a writer. It does kind of sound like it's coming from the heart, though. And at the end of the day, he came out with this 2 years ago, and they have chosen to move forward with this and still be together as a family. So if that's what they choose, then I don't really want to continue to hate on Brock. You know, it was one thing during Scandival where Ariana was absolutely betrayed and wanted nothing to do with Sandoval. So we kind of all jumped on that hate train with her. But Sheena has chosen a different path, and I don't want to, be on somebody for choosing a path that they feel is right for them and their family, especially when there is a kid involved. Not going to say I love Sheena and Brock all of a sudden because I don't. A lot of people still think that they are making this up for fame. I really don't believe that rumor, but I know a lot of you do think that. But it is definitely giving Sheena Shea a lot of press for her book tour. Speaking of Scandival, Sheena also revealed in an interview for her book that Ariana has not reached out to her regarding this whole affair scandal. And to be honest with you guys, I don't really know why she would. I don't think that they're friends anymore. I don't think that they speak. I think that they have gone their separate ways. And to be honest, I bet you it's been over a year since those two have actually spoken with each other. I don't think that Ariana owes Sheena anything, not even any sort of outreach whatsoever. I mean, let's look at how Sheena treated Ariana when everything was going down. Sure, we know that Sheena was dealing with her own shit during that time, but I certainly don't think that Ariana owes Sheena absolutely anything in this moment. So for her to come out and say that she's a little hurt she hasn't heard from Ariana, I'm sorry, but look in the mirror, Sheena. There is literally one on the cover of your book, and realize What you did to Ariana does not mean that you deserve anything in return from her. Last thing in the Vanderpump universe, did you guys see the teaser for the new Vanderpump Rules reboot that dropped on Bravo TV's Instagram?
The faces may have changed, but my rules, they've stayed the same.
I know that as OG Vanderpump Rules fans, me, myself as one, I've kind of been dogging on this. I've definitely been questioning it. I know this is just a teaser and it doesn't give us anything really, but I gotta say, it did make me excited. I think enough time has passed that has allowed us to mourn the old cast and mourn what used to be. But I think at this point, I am ready for some fresh blood. I am ready to see what these new servers have in store for us and what kind of drama they're going to shake up. I mean, I think that these people have very big shoes to fill, but we can only hope that they are going to be just as messy and dramatic as the Vanderpump Rules OGs from season 1. Let me know. Are you guys excited? Are you guys still skeptical? And will you be watching the reboot? Let me know in the comments. Okay, before we jump over to some Real Housewives updates, I do want to quickly talk about something I don't think I've really spoken about a lot, and that is NextGen NYC. Guys, if you are not watching this show, go binge it on Peacock right now because I'm obsessed. It was another show where I was very skeptical. I was wondering how this was going to go down. Of course, we've seen reboots. Of course, some of these newer Bravo shows with newer cast members, don't tend to do so well. But I gotta say, Bravo knocked it out of the park with this one. And the ratings are proof. Deadline reports the NextGen NYC series premiere got 5.4 million total viewers across platforms in 35 days, making it Bravo's most watched series premiere and season premiere of all time in the 35 plus. It was also the most watched Bravo episode of all time on Peacock. Now, I will say, Peacock did try to autoplay the series premiere of NextGen NYC after literally everything you watched, so that could definitely be playing into these numbers. However, I still want to give it its flowers because this cast delivered. I loved watching the Housewives kids, Riley, Ariana, Brooks, and Gia. I loved all the Housewives cameos, though I will say, I think we could do with a little bit less of Seth Marks next season. It was a little bit too much. We haven't gotten confirmation that we are actually getting a season 2, but I think with those numbers, we should. Even the newbies that they brought in, Ava, Georgia, Charlie, they are all delivering. Now, Charlie is actually a deplorable human being, but what I like about it so much is it seems like these people are being authentically themselves. They are not coming in and stirring up drama just for the hell of it. They are hanging out, having fun in New York City, and just kind of butting heads along the way. Everything seems very authentic, very natural. Nothing seems too forced. And that's what I love to see. I was afraid that some of these people might come on and be a little try hard, try to stir up drama. That is my one pet peeve because I can spot it from a mile away. But I'm actually enjoying this entire cast, and I want everybody back for next season. If you guys caught the season finale, though, I do want to talk about Georgia's boyfriend or ex-boyfriend at this point, Omar, because he was definitely the center of the last 15 minutes of that show, and not for good reason. Not only was he going to invest in Georgia's club, he was also going to go into business with Charlie doing some crypto investing. I don't know anything about that world. Obviously, we know that Charlie has been in trouble for some sort of crypto scandal as well. But Amira kept saying, Google Omar, Google it, Google it. So I needed to Google it and see for myself what was going on. And guys, he is shady. So a little bit about him. Omar Zaki's professional journey began with impressive speed. As a Yale graduate in his early 20s, he launched a hedge fund and an investment advisor business, aiming to carve out his place in the high-stakes world of finance. His ambition and ability to raise capital quickly set him apart, with Zaki and his partners securing approximately $1.7 million from investors in a relatively short period. But as the fund grew, so did questions about how it was managed and what investors were actually being told. Those questions eventually caught the attention of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. In 2019, the SEC charged Zaki with misleading investors by overstating the fund's assets, exaggerating its performance, and presenting a misleading picture of its management structure. The case ended in a civil settlement. Zaki did not admit or deny the SEC's finding, but agreed to pay a $25,000 penalty and accept a 3-year bar from associating with investment advisors and certain other financial roles. This was the person that was about to invest in Georgia's bar. This was the person that was about to go into a crypto business with Charlie. I mean, why do people with such shady backgrounds decide to go on TV and think that nothing is going to happen? Obviously, this breakup was a blessing in disguise for Georgia. She dodged a bullet. But this guy, I mean, the audacity of him to have issues with, investing and finances and stuff, only to come on TV and decide to continue those dealings. The audacity of men sometimes, I cannot get over it. I think it's safe to say we will not be seeing Omar next season, but I really do hope that we see the rest of the cast for another season of NextGen NYC. Okay, let's talk about the Real Housewives for a moment because we've got a few stories that I want to cover. The first of which is that Kenya Moore actually announced on YouTube yesterday that she is not returning to the Real Housewives of Atlanta next season. And I am distraught. I really wanted her to return, especially now that Britt Edie obviously is no longer going to be on the show. I am part of Team Twirl. I know what she did was absolutely horrible. Who those pictures were of, if they weren't of Britt Edie, we'll never know. But I did think that she was kind of getting back in good graces with the network. It does feel like that she had, talked with them and they had figured this out together. So I do hope that the door isn't closed forever. But I do think that the show needs Kenya. I feel like after she left, a part of the show was missing. Even with Phaedra in to take her place, I love me some Phaedra. No one does it like Kenya. So I am really sad to hear this news, but I do hope that we might see her again in the future. I do also want to touch on the Gertie Julia drama that is still going down on The Real Housewives of Miami. And I have to say, this might be an unpopular opinion. I am still on Team Gertie. Guys, I know a lot of you, I've seen your comments on my social media posts. You do not like what Gertie did at that event last time, but I don't know, maybe it's the shadiness in me. I kind of felt it was necessary. Maybe it was not the time nor the place to do this, but Julia will not stop painting Gertie out to be this horrible person. And if you actually read those text messages, they explain what went down on that cruise. And not only did Julia invite Gertie on the cruise, it seems like she then shunned her to not join her in any of the activities that were planned for the rest of the people on that cruise. Julia got to go to the dinners. Julia got to go to the events. Julia got to mix and mingle with whatever other famous people were there. And Gertie was kind of left to fend for herself and go, do dinner elsewhere and not be a part of anything. I don't know about you, but that seems shady to me. And that seems like something that's worth being pissed about. I'm not really sure why you guys are on Julia's side. To me, it is clear as day. It is black and white that what Julia did was wrong. Please explain it to me if you're Team Julia. I just don't get it. I don't get it how you could look at these text messages and side with Julia. If I were Gertie, I would be just as hurt as she is. Would I choose to expose the text messages on a giant screen during my cancer event? Probably not. But I do feel like some of these women, though they were too long to really read in the moment, I do think that they need to see these texts to really see what's going on. I also really liked how the newbie, Stephanie, handled this situation. She says, I'm staying neutral. I am not getting in the middle, even though she got shit from Alexia for it. I think as a newbie, I think it's fair if you want to hear both sides and not just jump to conclusions or jump to somebody's side just because you might favor them more. I'm still on the fence about her, but I do think that was a plus for her with how she handled that whole situation at Gertie's event. Okay, the final story this week is some updates on Denise Richards and Aaron Pfeiffer's divorce because, guys, this is getting messier by the day. So, of course, it came out that Aaron filed for divorce from Denise. Then Denise came out and actually accused him of abuse with photos to prove it and issued a restraining order. So Aaron has since come out and is not only denying the claims of abuse, he is throwing more allegations Denise's way. One, that she had an affair, and two, that she has a drug and alcohol problem. And that issue is actually what caused her to get hurt with all the bruises and instances that she is blaming on him. So let's start with the affair. Aaron Vipers accuses estranged wife Denise Richards of having an affair with Special Forces instructor Rudy Reyes. Privately, I've wrestled with the painful truth that Denise has been involved in an ongoing affair with her Special Forces instructor, Rudy Reyes, something I confronted her about earlier this year. She begged me not to leave, saying it was nothing and that she only loved me. Then she denied it all, even the explicit messages I found. Despite her promise to stop, more lies and shocking evidence emerged. Then Aaron also came out and accused Denise Richard of a Vicodin addiction. In an explosive letter to friends and family obtained by Page Six, he claims Richards needs an intervention for her alleged drug addiction that has affected their 14-year-old daughter, Eloise. For nearly a decade, she has struggled with an addiction to Vicodin, which she jokingly calls vitamin D or white chestnuts, mixed with Adderall and tequila, he claims. This is getting so messy. I mean, I thought it was pretty clear that when Denise accused Aaron of abuse, that is pretty much what happened. We've seen evidence of it on camera during the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. After this all came out, the clip of Denise and Aaron went viral when he threatens to crush her hand as they are walking out of a party at Kyle Richards' house. Denise was even questioned about this on the reunion. She kind of brushed it off. I think everybody could tell that something was going on. I mean, let's be real. We all know, and I'm sure the cast knows, that this Aaron guy is weird. He is bad news. He has weird business dealings. He's just a very odd person. But we've seen evidence of beyond that, of him threatening physical abuse towards Denise. So when these allegations came out, I believed them 100%. Now he's saying that none of that happened and Denise is actually the one with the problem. I don't know who to believe. However, maybe it's somewhere in the middle. And now we have Denise's lawyer firing back. Denise Richards' lawyer slams her ex Aaron Vipers after he accuses her of cheating, drug use, and physical abuse. Her lawyer's statement reads, in addition to the repeated abuse perpetrated by Mr. Vipers against Miss Richards throughout the party's marriage, Mr. Vipers has continued to harass Miss Richards since being served with a temporary restraining order by, among other things, disseminating private information from Miss Richards' cell phone and laptop, which he stole. These actions continue to disturb Miss Richards' peace. We have warned Mr. Vipers in writing not to disseminate any information from Miss Richards' stolen cell phone and laptop, but he continues to do so. Miss Richards will not be responding to Mr. Vipers' false allegations in a public forum and will be addressing Mr. Vipers' abuse in court. Vipers has responded and said, unfortunately, it seems Denise is experiencing another one of her now infamous upside-down jacket moments. And her well-paid handlers appear determined to spin it upright, no matter the cost or collateral damage. We genuinely hope she receives the help and support she clearly needs, as Denise herself once famously slurred in a less than sober moment, words that now echo with the irony, "Stop it, I know what you're doing." How dare Aaron and Aaron's lawyer to use those moments from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills in a legal statement? I mean, please. Was Denise a little bit off her rocker in that moment? Yes. Was the upside down jacket moment infamous? Yes. But are you really able to use those in court? I mean, I guess everybody was questioning what was going on with Denise in that moment. But honestly, Aaron, I think pictures of her with a black eye are going to be a lot stronger in court than some things she said offhandedly on the show. This is going to be messy, but I really pray for Denise. I really hope that she, can see a light at the end of the tunnel, because whether she has an addiction, a problem or not, no one ever deserves to be physically abused. So I really hope that she can get out of this as easy and quickly as possible. Well, that's it for this week. I did want to end with a new segment titled What Else We're Watching, because yes, there is a lot going on in the Bravo world, a lot of shows to watch, But there is stuff beyond Bravo to watch, and I'm always looking for suggestions. I thought I'd give some to you guys, and you can drop yours in the comments as well. But 3 shows that I am currently watching and loving. One is Beyond the Villa on Peacock. So this is following the season 6 contestants from Love Island, USA, as they kind of enter the real world and remain friends outside of the villa. I've heard some people say it's boring, but it's kind of like a refreshing escape from all of the very, very dirty drama some of these other shows give us. Once again, it's giving real, it's giving authentic. It doesn't really seem like these people are trying to cause drama that isn't there. And I just love following the PPG and everybody that came out of that season kind of as their relationships blossom, as they continue to live their lives. So I'm here for it. The next one that I'm watching, I'm only a few episodes in, is The Hunting Wives on Netflix. Now, this is basically Real Housewives on crack. There is a lot going on here, but I've heard it's actually really good. There's a murder element in it. Again, I'm only a couple episodes in, but so far, I'm hooked and I gotta see what happens at the end. So I will be sat for this one. And the last one, it's kind of a guilty pleasure for me, but it's The Summer I Turned Pretty. We're on the last season, guys. Now, I know it's basically the most unserious, serious show on TV. Like, some of these storylines do make me laugh. It's a little bit cheesy, I do have to say, but I am invested with the love triangle, with the brothers. I do want to see who Belly actually ends up with. Personally, I'm Team Conrad, but it is like kind of a nice little fun escape from, like I said, some of these not so fun reality shows that we are watching on Bravo right now. So what other shows are you guys watching? Drop your suggestions in the comments. And that's it for this week's Unpopular Opinions. I always love to hear your takes, so drop those in the comments as well. Do you agree with me? Do you not? And make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more Bravo breaking news. I'll see you guys next time.